Ladles and gentle spoons, my name is The Vagrant and I use the MPC Live 2 in standalone mode to produce progressive house music. And I've built myself a template for being able to just turn it on and instantly get into something that I can be creative with. So I have a ultimate drum program which is spread across all 8 banks. So if I come into assign samples and go through the sound banks, I've got a kit of single hits. And each one of these has its own EQ, so we've got reverb and delay, and we've just put little bits on each one. Every sound's been EQ'd, well, not all of them but most of them. And so that is the single hit pad, which if I just want to get something going, everything that I do is always 16 bars, so I always use note repeat. It is my best friend. So if I'm recording a kick, I'll just hold, and if I'm recording hats, not the best hat for example, that though, I need to sort that out. I'm just gonna give this, there we go. Yeah, that's a bit better. It's a bit nasty at the start, so we'll just take some of that punch off it. There. So that is bank A, and then if I don't know what's going to play here, let me just check if everything's gone. Right, so we've got the other drum loop playing here, so I need to mute that, which is there. And so all I've got on bank A on pad 5 is a kick drum, and I have assigned it as the mother ducker input. You never actually hear this kick though, and the reason that I'm using this kick is the transient of the kick is quite dominant at the start. I'll play you the kick. So that's the kick, but you never actually hear the kick. I've just used that as the sidechainer, and each of my plugins that I'm using has its own programs. Each one of them has its own mother ducker with its own threshold and release settings. So even if I've not got anything playing, I can always just hold a note and hear how it's gonna sound. For example, and it'll just give me an idea of, that's too low. And at the end of each eighth, I've taken out the sidechain. So if you look at the 15th and 16th bars, the kick goes, and then back. It does actually, it's quite a nice resolve at the end of all 16ths. I wish I had a cough button here. So that is essentially how I control my sidechains. I never use the trigger on the actual kick I'm using. I always assign it to its independent. Sounded like I had different accents then when you pronounce it with the letters the wrong way around. So that is all I do with the kick drum. I use it as a trigger and you never actually hear that kick. So it is just constantly pumping on my loop So if I've not got anything playing, I can pick any of my instruments. So as well as that, I've also got 7 different banks of loops, and I've had to key these in each individually, because some of them are 8 bars, some of them are 4 bars, and it just... let me... Nah. So some of them are 4 bars, some of them are 2 bars, some of them are 8 bars, some of them are 16 bars. So I've just got the length of each loop across all the sequences, and I've just MIDI programmed in the ones that I want. So obviously A to 1 to 16 is just the single hits, and then we have the kick trigger which has been programmed in, and then each bank is a specific type of loop that I use. So we have like cymbal loops, snare loops, tribal loops, and they're all looping around constantly whilst playing. So if you just look at these here, you'll see them triggering at the start of each bar depending on the length that they are, and then although each individual one does need EQing, now I've got my headphones, they don't sound anywhere near as good as when I EQ'd them in the monitor headphone, but I can just unmute any of these and it'll instantly give me a loop to work with. So if I time it at the end of the 16th, any of these, and just unmute. And it'll just allow me to be able to create instant. Now the theory was behind it originally that I would just pick one loop from each bank and it would give me essentially a full what's the word I'm looking for? A full drum sequence without having to use any of my own. Now they all need leveling out individually, but I've got, if I just unmute one from each group, and I'm just going to wait through and EQ Don't like that. I've seen the clock. Find that one. It's not there. It's that one. See? Instant grooves. Now we can so that's the theory, but not as easy to put into practice on this machine because the workflow's a bit clunky. I do like that one though. I always try and make it so the loop can stand alone without a thumping kick behind it. Carry on. Everything sounds better with a fat kick behind it. So I try and leave it as late as possible to bring in the actual kick. Especially with a bass line. Bass lines always sound better with a kick creeping in after them. So that is essentially what I would do with that. So I'll have a loop on each one. Let's bring some more energy into this. Don't have any fillings in there. Right, so that is my drum program that I use for jams. I just unmute these things to give me some rhythm, but then I'll make my own over it. So I can loop them in, and then once I've got all my pads used pretty much on here, because they're all compatible, I'll then strip away all the loops. Oh my goodness, God, why? That is some horrible crackly feedback that I'm getting from this. I don't know why. It's no bueno. Right, we continue. Oh, it stopped. Oh, that was lovely. Right, let's just carry on. So then what I've done is I've built a sound from scratch in each plugin. So with the bass line, obviously, I like to start everything down low, so down here. And it's just monophonic, so and so I just have that on one channel, and I always like to have a low pass filter on the actual channel itself. So I'll have a low pass and a high pass on my bass, and then obviously I've got a sidechain on there as well. I'll just get that loop going so I can and so I've always got the sidechain going. And then so I've just built a sound that I like in each plugin that I have that is compatible with each other. So we have a bass, and we have a pluck, which I've demonstrated in another video which is on YouTube. I'll put this under a low filter at the moment. I like to keep everything starting low. I've been working on a new melody last night as well, which is a double-handed job, which I can't do while I'm holding the microphone, but it is very satisfying. And so we've got, as I say, I built a sound in each plugin from scratch, so I know it inside out, just so I can head into it while I'm jamming, and I can manipulate it however I want to manipulate it. So this one, for example, I know that I've got in the filter, but I could just hold that note or I can build with it. And there we are, that sidechain just picks it up, catches it, pings it in nicely, and thankfully my OCD, ADHD keep the BPM just constantly going in my head, so even if I'm not looking at this timer up here, I always, for some weird reason, know where I am. This sound is wonderful, especially up here. She's very nice. So we've got a plug that we can cheat code with arpeggiator mode, as anyone who uses an MPC will know. Note repeat and arpeggiator mode are just absolutely fantastic, especially for me making EDM music. There's nothing quite like a pretty arpeggiator, and the fact that you can open the gate and close the gate within it is also a bonus. And so that is the plug, and then we have a, again it's in the filter, nice and low, but we have an arpeggiated built-in electric. I'll just bring it out of the filter for you. She's very nice as well, but she sounds cool low. But the secret weapon about this one is pad perform into chords. I'm getting the key that I've been using recently, and just press one button. And you can just create instant mood with pad perform and just and then once you've learnt the chords, you can come into notes and you can just play them. And then it gives you a bit more freedom for building your melodies. And then a secret cheat code for anyone who didn't know is when you're in chord mode, and if you hold note repeat, it will just play the notes of the chord as an arpeggiator, and that is for me. Just magical. I just got a little goosebump and wanted to go jamming. So that is the arpeggiator within electric that I've also built. All of these I've just loaded up and just tweaked presets to suit the sound that I like, as opposed to doing an initial preset. I think it's better to find something that you like and then work away from it, as opposed to building from scratch, for me personally, because it's just time consuming and my ADHD just gets distracted. So that is what I've built within Electric, and what I do like about Electric is just the manipulation within it to be able to I just enjoy manipulating envelopes, and I never like to keep a sound doing the same thing for more than 8 bars if I can help it. So I do a lot of automation of decay and release, and yeah, that's my kind of vibe. And I'm slowly in the process of mapping everything over to the MIDI mix and the MPK Mini, which are currently here, as you'll see, but they're on a stand that is may as well be made of paper. Look at the wobble on that. If I start jamming away on it, it just collapses into a... well, it don't collapse, but it's no bueno. So that's the arpeggiator, and then this is my favourite. This is just my favourite because it's just a rave. An instant rave. But she's down low at the moment. When she opens up, she's just an absolute rave. I should warn you. Yeah, but we like to keep them nice and low to start with, because everything just catches you by surprise then, so I always keep everything. This one's also absolutely epic in chord mode, but I don't want to be in there right now. This is just... just a wonderful noise. So we have all these layers so far. They're all compatible with each other, so, and they're all built, well, not built as such, but I know them all inside out, and I know what I want to do with them when I want to do what I want to do with them. So I like manipulating the LFOs, I like bringing the depth up as I'm jamming. I just had a washing machine. So hype is definitely my favourite for manipulating the instrument, because it's quite intuitive as far as manipulating the sound goes. And so this is the one that I have mapped to the 8 knobs on the MPK Mini. And so I've done the low pass filter, the decay, the release, the depth of the LFO, the rate of the LFO. I've got some inserts on there as well. I've got the reverb on one of them, I've got the delay on one of them. I don't actually know why I've got that low pass filter on there, because there's one within the plugin, but it's there anyway. And so that is usually the lead. Once it's out of the filter, it's just absolutely mega, it's just a rave. But low down it's got a nice pluck. So again, that's another one that we can either it just goes in line with the others, and that is hype, and that is the one that I've mapped to all the MPK Minis. OPX4 is so complex. I just haven't spent the time getting used to it yet, but I have made a preset that I'm slowly but surely learning. It's the screen here that just intimidates the life out of me. This one. So there's all these different modulations all going on every single preset. Anything you load, just not a clue what any of them do. So it's a bit limited as to what this one can do at the moment. I'll get out a pad perform because this is an individual note one. So that is what I'm slowly working on, because it's difficult. Well, I'm just not very savvy with it. Just really very in depth, and it's not really one that you can just faff around with and hope for something to sound good. There's so much to do on it, and not much by the way of tutorials. Hint, hint. Anyone out there? And so this has got drum and bass written all over it, this one. But I've had to save the preset anyway in the house project, because up here it's manageable. And so then we also have my secret weapon, which is just filth. Absolute filth. I think that's currently being modulated by it's got a bit of attack on. I do very much like that sound. And then we've got it's one of them that just makes you gip. She's a chord. Yeah, so she works nicely. And then finally, the 8th plugin is, well, the name speaks for itself. She is just beautiful. She's just pretty. And then low down, just early 2000s. Don't do that. Thought I was in note mode. Come out of that. And that is all my plugins. And then we have vocal chops, which I'm still not entirely sure how I'm going to be doing yet. But I essentially just load up tunes that I love and then just chop them up. I don't know. So yeah, that's what I do with chops. I just vanish off the face of the planet and just start chopping it up and going a bit berserk. But that's what I like to do with vocals. I've got quite a few on here now. Here come the hats. Here come the hats. Here come the hats. Here come the. Here come the. Here come the. Here come. 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 Here come the hats. Here come the hats. I digress. I digress. And then so finally, on the final one, I have another drum kit that, well, just acts completely independently of the Ultimate Drum program that I've built that's got all the loops inside it, because that one has to be loaded in as its own individual. I have to base every single template of drums around that loop because I've keyed all the MIDI in to trigger the loops, and just to save having to faff around with that drum program, I just create a separate drum program, which I should probably and so I have a separate drum program that I just use independently of the loop one. I only use the loop one for live jamming. If I'm actually recording drums in, I will always use this kit. Yeah, there we go. We have my template, and this is what I'll be using when I live stream jams. And so I was going to do a demo today of it, but I'm just not feeling it, to be completely honest with you. I'm not really feeling the vibes today. So that is all from me for my drum template and why I have done what I've done, to be able to just turn it on, load it up, hold a bass line, and we're just flowing instantly. So I mean, oh, fuck it, why not? Let's open it up and turn that shit off. Oh, need to be recording. What we got? Too low. There we go. Here. That sounds like Pharrell. Kick it. See how it's sounding. Now that we've got a few instruments, I'll just bring a few out. See how they sound. So we'll go with the bass first. Up there. I need to get up. There we go. This is just gonna make it go to the next level. Go back down now. That's got too much decay on it now, so that needs to come back down. That rave's dying to come out. So that's pretty much the idea. That's coming out now, oh, fuck it. That works. That's getting too heavy now, I need to tell the ready to soften that. And I think that's a wrap. Yeah, that'll do. That is the Vagrant house template as poorly explained by me. And so thank you for watching. If you'd like to see what I actually do with this when I'm actually concentrating and I've got two hands, and then come and find me on Twitch at The Vagrant UK, on YouTube, The Vagrant UK, Instagram, The Vagrant UK, and guess what? TikTok, The Vagrant UK. And so if you have any questions about my workflow or any questions about the MPC in general, then please do pop me a comment in the comment section below, or send me a private message on any of the socials, and I'd be happy to have a natter. So thank you, ladles and gentle spoons. I have been the Vagrant, you have been learning, and we have been... I need to work on that. Ciao ciao.